Hey guys, I'm Jesse,
I'm Eric.
and today we're reviewing the sequel to Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. Star Wars: The Force Unleashed 2.
Where do we even start?
I don't know, man. I was gonna tell you to start because this is really personal for me.
Mm-hmm.
You go ahead. I need a moment.
Okay.
I need a moment.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. Where do we even begin with this story? Well, what story is there? I mean,
You talking about the plot of the video game?
Hmm?
You're talking about the plot of the video game, or?
Well, I mean, pretty much.
Yeah. There. I need a moment, man. No, I'm just kidding. It's so short, so I'll present it.
It's a little. Well, I mean, in general, it's
bizarre.
Coming off from the first game, like immediately after, like because I went back to back and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Coming off from the first game, it went like a very bizarre turn.
Yes.
And not in a good way either.
So, we pick up with who we think is Starkiller, but then we find out is a clone.
Yeah, a clone of many.
Now, again, I need to emphasize this. I think part of the reason you remember Alien 3?
Yeah.
Part of the reason it sucks so much is because people wanted to see Ripley, but they didn't get Ripley. They got this half human, half xenomorph.
Yeah.
Ripley.
Yeah, which was
who doesn't know how to talk and or she knows how to talk, but she doesn't know how to socialize.
Yeah.
It wasn't Ripley. People wanted Ripley, and it wasn't Ripley, and that's how I feel about the Star Wars: The Force Unleashed 2.
People wanted Starkiller, and they didn't get him.
We got.
Technically.
You're right.
I mean,
but in order to kind of not get confused, I'm gonna start calling Starkiller from Force Unleashed 1 Galen Merrick, which is his original name. And this new guy, I'm just gonna call Starkiller. So we wanted more of Galen Merrick.
All right.
The original.
But instead, we got Starkiller.
We got Starkiller, who's a clone with the memories. And let me just, it's something that the game itself says. You know what I mean? It comes from Ram Koda.
Yeah, they really want to emphasize that he is a clone. They kind of hammer it down too.
They kind of retcon themselves, don't they?
Yeah.
This whole idea about the Force is you're born with it.
Yeah.
You can't. There's no machine that can give you more Force powers.
There's no pills,
artifacts.
no midichlorians.
No midichlorian injections.
Yeah, right.
So, again, the game itself says it. Ram Koda says Darth Vader can't clone Jedi, but he did.
Yeah.
This clone supposedly has as much power in the Force as the original.
As much, if not maybe more.
Maybe more, but that doesn't make any sense. Because then that blows a hole in the whole Star Wars. Palpatine could literally
in the mythos.
He could literally, any dark side user can just make a clone of the most powerful Jedi and amp him up. That breaks the story. They win. Or the other side, the Jedi could clone a Sith that was really powerful.
Yeah, it's over.
Train him to be a Jedi, and just amp him up.
Pretty much.
And there's no story anymore because they could just do that.
Well, I mean,
it's one
there is, but it's not the best story.
Part of the reason people didn't like The Last Jedi is this idea that you could use hyperspace as an attack, because then, can't you do that at any time? Can't you suicide bomb?
Yeah.
I mean, before it was believed that hyperspace isn't, you go into another dimension.
Right.
You're not going a billion miles per hour through a galaxy. No, you go into another plane of existence where it's like a wrinkle in time, you know what I mean? Where you kind of jump, you know what I mean?
Is it wrong for me to say that I always thought that you were actually going super fast?
You know what? No, it's okay, because as a kid, I thought too. It wasn't until I saw, I got deeper into the lore of Star Wars that I started to realize, they're teleport. It's like you teleport, basically. But doesn't that make it easier?
Yeah,
if the Empire has, a big-ass ship, can't, one of the rebels just, hyperspace into it, they win.
Yeah, basically. I mean, the war would have been over.
Yeah, but going back to the original point,
right.
We don't want to rant too much.
Oh, yeah.
Or I don't want to rant too much, but...
we've ranted too much about it already.
It breaks the, like, law, basically, of the Force and of Star Wars. You could just clone a really powerful Jedi or a really powerful Sith, and that's it, you win.
Pretty much.
So, I didn't like that. And then, you know... I'm gonna talk about the wardrobe too, because I like the wardrobe from the first one. It looks like a mix between like armor and Sith robes.
Yeah, which I thought was kind of cool.
It looks cool. This one, I don't know. They're trying to make it like medieval because he has that like huge thing on his shoulder.
Yeah,
but he's also wearing like a cat. Like it's literally like a shirt I'm wearing, like a.
Yeah.
Sleeve, like, what? Like, no, like, that look, I don't know.
So a game made for you then?
Huh?
No, nothing?
What? No. I'm saying I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. No, because it doesn't make any sense. When have you seen that, like, this type of shirt in, like, Star Wars or, like, a fantastical world like that? So it literally felt like the designers
they're
are
trying to, like, modernize it or something?
I wasn't gonna say that. That's a good point. Maybe like, modernized medieval. Because again, he has that big ass like thing.
It's honestly a very confusing like design choice.
What I thought is that the actor, like the Sam Witwer.
Oh yeah.
He's like, well, like or someone asked like, so what are they gonna wear? What's the character gonna wear? Oh, and he was literally wearing that. It's like, well, this doesn't look bad, Sam. We could like just put. Wait, are you guys serious? Yeah, we'll just add some, like, a shoulder piece right here, like a barbarian.
Like, boom, done.
And, like, the belt, the utility belt. You're good.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you need.
Are you guys sure? It's
like, do you want to get paid next year?
All right. So yeah, like, but yeah, going back to the story. So it's a clone, but he has a memory, and he's just as powerful as Galen Merrick.
Yeah.
And for some reason, he has memories of Galen Merrick about Juno Eclipse, and he starts trying to question.
Although, albeit like a very very limited, right?
Yeah, very limited. Like he just sees this woman, and Darth Vader says, "You know what? I can't believe this happened again," implying that it's happened with like a bunch of clones.
Yeah.
So he's like, "You know what? I'm gonna have to kill you," and then like he tries to have him killed by clone troopers, but of course he escapes because he's stronger. And basically it's that's the whole game. He starts,
and at that point it kind of follows like a movie structure of sorts. Yeah.
So he wants to escape from Vader, but he also wants to find out more about his past, tracking down the people in his dreams, which are Ramkota.
Yeah. Which at that point I kind of thought, okay, this looks kind of cool. Yeah, it started off pretty pretty decently. But then you go further down the rabbit hole, and then after that it's kind of like a mess.
Yeah, no, I don't. No, man. No, it made improvements, right?
It did, yeah.
The combat's a little better.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's kind of like. Between the combat system between 1 and 2, it's like night and day. Like you can tell that they put the developers put more effort on the combat. Yeah, they were listening to the fans of the first game.
But that's kind of the only thing it has going for it, isn't it?
Well, it's not the only thing.
We just went over the story. It's really minimal. Eric, how long did it take you to finish the game?
3 hours maybe, and that's compared to the first game, which was 8 hours.
I was about to ask you. Yeah, same thing. I wasn't good at the game, so it took me a little longer. It took me the first game 2 weeks probably. And keep in mind, I was in middle school.
Stuff happens. Yeah,
and I'm not the best game player. Okay, so moving on. The second game took me 3 days.
Yeah, well, on and off, right?
On and off, yeah.
Yeah.
But severely disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're trying to say. It's for all his improvements, there are a bunch of setbacks.
Yeah. Well, one thing I really want to talk about is the absence of bosses. Now, don't get me wrong, there are bosses, right?
No, there are.
There are bosses,
but it's just
not memorable ones.
I mean, there's that like monster like when you're trying to like rescue Coda.
The Rancor.
Yeah, the Rancor. Yeah.
We've seen a Rancor before, like get killed by Luke Skywalker. It's not. I mean, I get.
Well, you get to interact with it, and I mean, I'm not gonna lie,
I kind of saw him more as like a mini boss. I didn't see like a real boss, but that's just me.
Well, I mean, it's a stage thing, like because there's the first stage, like where you fight him like in the pit. The second stage when he's trying to destroy the building, and then the third stage when you're flying like downward into like in the air, which I thought if this wasn't Star Wars, it probably would have been like a cool set piece.
Okay, yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, and and to add on to that, the presentation in the game is it has also been improved as well. Mm-hmm. Now the cutscenes almost look like they're the gameplay counterpart. Mm-hmm. And in comparison to the first game, you can tell what's a pre-rendered cutscene and what's a gameplay. Here you can kind of tell the difference, but it's very minimal at best.
I'm going back to the bosses, man. I mean, and I've heard that complaint. Does there need to be a Jedi or a Sith in every Star Wars thing, in every Star Wars media? I get that. If the way I see it, if there's a Force user as a main character, you have to have other Force users as the enemy. If it's like a video game about a bounty hunter, okay, we don't really need Force
fair
users.
Enough.
But if the Force user is the main character, you have to have other Force users as bosses. That's the one thing I love about the first game, is you face both Sith and Jedi.
Unique ones at that.
Yeah. Here, no. The only one you fight
is Darth Vader.
3 times. He's 3 bosses.
Pretty much.
You fight him in the beginning. Don't you fight him in the middle?
I don't think so, actually.
Wait.
Actually, wait. If it...
At the end, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So just 2, but technically, other than that, what do we have? The Rancor?
Yeah, the Rancor.
Don't you fight Boba Fett?
Do you?
Or I think you chase him, don't you, when he kidnaps Juno?
Yes, you chase him, but you don't fight him.
You don't really fight it. See,
I mean, he's just there. Just like in the movies. He's just there.
There's also those terror troopers. But again, those are mini bosses. I don't really...
Yeah, and then they're the clones as well, but they're not even bosses either. They're just
enemies.
They're just enemies. That's it.
Yeah, so again, that's one reason I was severely disappointed with the second one. Yeah, you improved the combat for what? So we could just knock around a couple clone troopers and a couple of clones.
I mean in a way, for as much as I like it, there's no point in utilizing it if you don't have good enemies to fight with. Mm-hmm. If anything, I'd probably say there is a term for those clones that you fight. I pretty much just would like to call them jobbers. They're just there just to keep you busy.
You know what they reminded me of is Goombas. Because Goombas aren't hard. You could just stomp on them and you move on.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, I don't
know, man.
I mean, they're a little bit challenging than that.
I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. That's for me, they were Goombas. That's how they were. There was no real Bowser ever, except Darth Vader. But I don't know. And it gets repetitive when you face him in the beginning.
Definitely that.
It's just
I mean,
are we at least gonna fight Palpatine?
Yeah. Do we get to fight any other Jedi? We don't.
No.
All we get is just the Rancor, Darth Vader, and that's it.
Darth Vader twice.
Yeah, and when technically speaking, I'm only just gonna count him as once, cause so
he's one person.
Yeah, he's just one person, so he only gets 1 point. That's it. Mm-hmm. So really, you only get 2 boss fights. Mm-hmm. One of them only counted twice.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel like I don't have anything else to say, man.
I mean, what more can you say? And that's why, at least I just can't believe that the story is as short as it is, because I did a bit of digging digging around for the game, and at the credits, I am shocked to see that there are even like not one, not two, not three, but 6 writers like just writing the game. 6 writers, and they can't even come up with a good with a good story.
I think I lost. When you told me that, I'm pretty sure I like lost 16 like IQ points, man. Like,
I mean,
what you think with more writers it'd be good?
But I mean, they're having to. I mean, look, 6 writers like look now, and before you say like it's a I mean compared to a big budget movie, like it's not like of course like that's a lot of writers. Well, I mean like. If it's like a big budget like a game like a Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption,
that makes sense.
or even like the new God of War game, it will make sense because you would need like a lot of more content like to fulfill that. Like you need to have like material for at least like 20 hours or so. But this like we have 6 writers here, but the game could be completed like within 3 hours. Or 3 hours, like at best, because I mean that's how fast I did it. So, what happened here? And
I really feel like it should have just been a DLC. The fact that it's the sequel
and is this short?
It's that short. You know, if it was a DLC, I wouldn't be hating on that.
I probably excuse it a little bit, not by much, but it would be understandable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I don't know.
And unfortunately, that's our review. I mean, like, a lot of mistakes were made. Mm-hmm. Honestly,
they rushed into it, but you know.
Well, to be fair, like when you're given about like it's been probably like less than 2 years just to come up with a game, like
No, I'm saying whoever told them we want a sequel like,
in 2 years.
The bosses, they rushed into it.
Yeah,
they saw that Force Unleashed 1 was really great.
Mm-hmm. Despite it had a lot of potential.
It had a lot of potential. They rushed into it,
and that's what sucks. And that's what sucks about it. Like the first game had like a lot of potential, like just to be like this big series like of games, mm-hmm. kind of like Mass Effect, mm-hmm. and unfortunately like the sequel did not impress. Now I personally, as crazy as it sounds, I actually don't hate the game as much as you do.
I don't hate it. I just, I know I could have done way better. Mm-hmm.
Because here, for all the mistakes that the game did, there are also like positives as well. As mentioned before, the combat is refined.
Mm-hmm. Combat's really good.
The overall presentation, graphically, is pretty good. Like given the amount of time that they were given, and honestly, looking back, and
can I add one thing?
Go ahead.
The marketing was pretty good too, because I don't know if you ever saw that commercial from Adult Swim.
No, never did actually.
So you know Robot Chicken?
Yeah.
They do a lot of Star Wars stuff. So there was this really short on Adult Swim. It was a commercial mm-hmm. where it's Darth Vader, but it's Robot Chicken,
Oh yeah. Mm.
So this Imperial officer comes in and he's like, "Oh, Darth Vader, Star Killer has killed Summers," and then the Force chokes him. It's like something I should. Emperor Palpatine's like. Something I should know about? And it's like, no, why? No, he was just talking about a joke we heard or something. He tries to play it off. And then he's like, are you sure? And then he eventually tells him, like, I may have tried to have Star Killer killed and now he's trying to kill me. Now don't you feel better? Yeah, that was a funny commercial. So the marketing was a little better, like you said, the gameplay.
Yeah, and despite the marketing, at least from what I've researched, it did not commercially, it did not do well. At least compared to the first game.
No.
Yeah, it sold less.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Given the amount of time that they were given just to make the game, it's no wonder that it turned out the way it did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And honestly, and I'm sure that is not the developer's fault.
No,
rather it's it's the publisher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you know what? I don't and as I said before, I don't hate the game as much as as he would. Although that's probably only because I did not have that much expectations going in, mm-hmm. given the amount of the amount of things that I've heard prior to playing the game.
Yeah.
And I'd probably say I'd give it like I'd give like a Star Wars: The Force Unleashed 2 a 6.5 out of 10. With like, if the story was better, like if the story was improved, I probably would have given it like a 7.5 out of 10. Mm-hmm. Just as much, just as good as the first game. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, 6.5.
So I'm not gonna deny it does a lot of good stuff. Maybe I was a little too harsh on it. Mm-hmm. I'm still really disappointed in it. It did good stuff, like I talked about with Eric. It improved on the gameplay.
Yeah, there was like custom. Like there's even like they still kept the customization.
They kept that, which it was.
Yeah, they had like they still have like the lightsabers, the costumes.
You couldn't change the hilt though, but yeah.
I just remembered something actually. I kind of want to bump up my score of like from a 6.5 to a 7 actually. I just remembered something. Yeah.
For the second one.
Yeah, for the second one. Yeah. Because I just remembered something that I just remembered something. Now I was as I was playing the game, I was kind of like screwing around here and there, just like playing the game. Now there's like these items that you can collect, like whether it's like whether there's like a new lightsaber colors or like powers or like costumes. In one level, before the Rancor boss, I was looking around just to see if I could find any hidden stuff. Lo and behold, I did find something, and I was kind of confused as to what it was exactly. So I looked into the menu, just looked up the costume, and it turns out that it was a costume for a character in the Tales of Monkey Island series, only known as Guybrush Threepkiller Killer. Now I played the games before, I played those two games before, and honestly, it was like, okay, you know what? This game, this gets something like gets a higher score only because of that. Because well, now granted, I'm a little biased, but it's just like, but that was that really hit a mark for me because I played those games. Mm-hmm. So I want to change my score from a 6.5 to a 7. Okay. Not as high, but it's I don't know. I just fell in love with that. Yeah. So.
So it does good things. Mm-hmm. The few enemies we get are kind of cool, but when you face them over, that's my only complaint. Mm-hmm. That you face them over and over again. It's like, we have that big machine type, like the spider machine that you fight.
Yeah.
AT-ATs, stuff like that.
Yeah, which I thought the spider fight was kind of cool. I guess.
Yeah. The Terror Troopers, those were cool.
Mm-hmm.
And the Rancor sequence was pretty cool too.
Yeah, pretty cinematic, for the most part, especially towards the end.
Mm-hmm. But in the end of the day, it's still the story. It's not enough, and it's not hard.
It's not a horrible story.
Honestly, that's one thing we have in common.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's one thing we have in common.
Here, it's not entirely the worst story I've ever heard, in my entire life. Mm. But for a Star Wars, property, it is not a great story. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. That's the one thing we have in common. That I'm gonna change my score because of something in this review. I came in with a score in my head, but then when you revealed that thing about the 6 writers.
Yeah, 6 freaking writers. How the hell can you?
So here's my right off the bat. I can give you a story where there's Force users. I'm not saying that I would rather have the Force users as enemies instead of all the Terror Troopers and the Rancor and the AT-ATs and
all the jobbers.
No, but alongside those enemies, also have Force users. Right off the bat, I got a scenario that I would like to present. In the earlier game, in the first game, Galen killed Shakti.
Yes.
So why not make it that secretly, unbeknownst to Galen Merrick and even Darth Vader, Shakti had saved a group of Padawans from the Jedi Purge. Now she sort of sensed a dark presence coming, which is Galen Merrick. Mm. So she kind of removed herself because if Galen Merrick, she knew he was gonna track him or Darth Vader.
Yeah.
She knew that she was gonna get tracked down. If she was tracked down to where the hideout where the Padawans were, she knew the Padawans were also gonna be eliminated. So she removed herself and secluded herself. That way, when they found her, she'd be alone and they'd think, this is the only Jedi here. But let's say, hypothetically speaking, the Padawans saw that and they vowed revenge on Galen Merrick. but they never saw, that he turned good and everything like that, and eventually that he killed himself and that this is a clone, so they hunt him down. I feel like that would have been it would have helped the story a lot more.
Oh, yeah.
Idea, because, again, he's trying to be good, but now he has to kill Jedi because they're trying to kill him.
Yes.
Right off the bat, off the top of my head.
Yeah, if he can do it, then why not those 6 writers then?
And they had 6. How?
Not one person thought of that.
I may have exaggerated back. I am disappointed in the game, but it's still a decent game.
It is.
It's not. It is a little. It's not horrible.
There are some problems. All right.
There are problems. So, but that whole.
That's not to say that that the first game didn't have problems either. But the second game definitely the problems there are much more noticeable.
Mm-hmm. It's still a good game. I'll still go back and play it. But the expectations set by the first game and what we're presented with it's bad.
It's subpar.
Yeah. So that being said, I'm going to give it a 6. I was going to give it a 6.5, but after I found out that there were 6 writers, and even then, we didn't get a great story, a good story.
A good Star Wars story, no less.
Yeah. But, and I was going to give it an even lower rating. But the fact is, really kind of going into the in depth with the levels, I did play it. And even as a kid, I was disappointed. It's hard to disappoint a kid, right?
Right.
Even as a kid, I was disappointed, but I still had fun. I still finished the whole game.
Yeah, and so did I. Even almost 8 years after release.
So that being said, a 6. The only reason I don't give it a lower rating is because I do have some nostalgic feelings towards it.
Yeah.
That's the only reason, so.
And the thing is, what disappoints me even more is that, what if there was a way that we can combine, the combat from the second game and perhaps, the writing in the first game, combine them all together and just, make a quality product?
I don't know. Yeah.
And the problem is we'll never know because, unfortunately, LucasArts, the studio, behind those games, are, they're gone. And you can thank Disney for that, actually. Yeah. And the thing is, there was supposed to be a third game in the works, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was supposed to be.
Because in the end, and I guess that's one thing I liked is they captured Darth Vader. Spoilers. They capture the rebel. If you pick the light
not that
side,
it matters anyway.
If you pick the light side, you capture Darth Vader and you basically take him to a rebel hideout. But as the ship's going, you see on a comet, it passes a comet, and on that comet, a Boba Fett ship detaches and then follows that ship, which I thought was cool.
Which
I'm
could lead for a potentially good story, but it shall never come to pass. And with that, that's our review for Star Wars: The Force Unleashed 2. Thank you for watching. Leave a like, subscribe. My name is Eric.
My name is Jesse.
And we'll see you next time.
What?